So my duty is for 2 seconds just to wake you up. Yesterday when the dancers were performing, everybody was clapping happily. When the science is being spoken, everybody is doing this. Please clap for the previous speaker loudly. And there were some people who were willing to dance as well along with them, but you don't have to dance along with them. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, put your phones off, probably, because the subject which has been given to me is extremely serious for the industry, may not be very serious to the scientists. But since they are part of the industry, they have to acknowledge the seriousness to these presentations. My survival and my survival is your survival. That's a compliment for each other. Industry has done well. Industry looks very promising. Food sector will remain promising in India for sure, because 1.5 billion population to be fed. Protein deficient nation will have to shift to the protein sufficient nation. That itself is a big challenge. Now how do we do this? So we are put to the greater responsibility of responding to the changes which is occurring around us. Wrong English, please correct me, I'll explain it again in Hindi. अगर आपने जो एरिया ऑफ एक्सपेंशन चूज किया है उसका ऑप्टिमल इंफॉर्मेशन आप गलती कर रहे हैं. Look at these areas. Karnataka, considered to be a Pujari state, 78.9% non-vegetarian population. Why they should not expand? How can you make a plan for these states where you have 30% non-vegetarian, 25% non-vegetarian, 39% in Gujarat, and there are states like 78% non-vegetarian, 97% non-vegetarian in Kerala. Did you ever map this information before thinking about your business plan? If not, probably start looking at it. Everybody says females eat less meat. Males eat more meat. Look at this. Eggs, males are dominating. Fish, males are dominating. It means our education target to the consumers is misnomer. We haven't targeted our audience correctly, who should be our reach to the right kind of consumers who should be converted to our products. Look at the appetite for the meat. And I have reached only 2020. So you need probably 6 million tons of meat. And look at your progress. You continue to go on. Out of 6 million meat consumption, up to 2020 is approximately 4 million tons of consumption is from the chicken. So of course, since yesterday we are into right business. We continue to drive the meat growth plan. How do we conduct our growth plan has to be thoughtfully designed. Telangana, Andhra, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Jharkhand are the states where the proportion of non-vegetarian is more than 90% and above. It means we have to do a lot of homework in those states where we have less non-vegetarian population. Means your education program or the merit percolation program of your products has to be more effective. That's the whole message. And National Family Health Survey suggests that 70% of women and 78% of men in the country consume some form of the meat. If that is a true story, long way to go. Stopped? Okay. Indian society divided in spending patterns. This has to be understood. Largest chunk of earning of a family gets spent on food. So you are in right direction. Health and wellness is still between 1 or 2% in the country. So if this is the pattern, we have to do a lot of work to snatch some portion of these spendings to our favor. And study this. Further, I thought I'll break down this information. All households take the most modern market of the US versus the Indian market. US, all household, Indian urban, 43%, whereas in the US, in the urban consumption is 33%. So I mean, you see 43% of Indian urban in the US and in the India urban is almost similar, so not much of difference. So where the market exists for India, below poverty line, is the rural areas and in the rural areas. So it means our penetration in the rural market is negligible. Whatever sells, sells. If it would be left to the choices, then probably you have to look at, and the latest survey, which is done by probably 18 or 26,000 consumers in the US, there were a lot of sound yesterday in the morning, or probably today. People were talking about sustainability as a buzzword for the future. But in the food business, pardon my arrogance, it is not the sustainability which is buzzword of the business. It is the price on which the consumer buys. You do whatever you want to do, my product has to fit into my pocket. If you do not fit into the pocket, you are out of the business. Are we addressing the social complexion? Ever? I had this slide before as well in some of the presentations, probably overseas. We do not have a map in front of us before planning our business. If I'm planning a business in Guwahati, did I do study for the complexion of the social structure which can be targeted in my business plan, which never happened? Even if I'm an integrator, even if I'm a farmer, even if I'm a breeder and farmer, even if I feed miller, I don't think I have met across as yet a person who has all this information on his table to understand the complexity which you're going to deal with it. Time has come, probably, we have to wake up. Look at this. Protein consumption among the urban adults across India by food group. You are only 11% of protein provider as yet. If the National Institute of Nutrition advised to be taken since 1947, if they existed, I think the first report was published in 1951 or something like that. All the trials done between Andhra and the Hindi-speaking belts, it was found that the most of the children who grew faster and better IQ were non-vegetarians. And these files are part of archives of the parliament as well. There's a document available in the parliament which says clearly, before 14 or 15 years of age, if you feed your children good, efficient protein, they will have a better structure, stature of the body, and the better IQ. This is a trial report. Probably India did not recommend through the parliament non-vegetarian diet and made us a vegetarian nation primarily for affordability issue. So, price at which your product is produced will determine the success of consumption. And this trauma is going on and haunting us since 1947, not today. So that is what is to be understood. If fish, egg, meat is only 11% and the cereals are still 53% part of the protein delivery, it means something has to be done by the industry. I would move forward, making protein availability, affordable prices. All this is probably known to you. Consumption volume of poultry meat is going to be growing. I think by 2030, you will be looking forward to 8 million tons of chicken meat if Dr. Shukla's projections are correct. Okay. Everybody considers him the father of the nation. Why don't you learn from him? At least one liner as industry person and promote the product. He who can take milk should have no objection in taking infertile eggs. It is not a small statement for the nation. It is probably the most important statement by the father of the nation. It means it should be taken very seriously by the industry itself. Live dominates, processing 8%, I think not even 8%, must be lower than 8% as yet. The 2 to 3% would be the value-added product, not even 2 to 3%, 1.2% to 1.3%, is the complexion of the current existence of a poultry industry. Changing demographics. I blame the industry and myself directly. We never promoted our product ever since existence of the industry. You have been only producer of the product, not a marketer of the product. Take a clothing line, or take a pen, or take the smallest thing in your life, how strongly it gets spoken about it. And if this is a lifeline of protein delivery in India, we have never spent even 1% of our revenues to promote the product. When I say 1%, maybe even 0.1% is not spent. Two major deficiencies in the industry. We have no marketing plan. We have no R&D infrastructure for food. So make a note in your diary, if you are a serious player into the business, these two for any industry is critical issue of the existence. Marketing plan, R&D expenditure. Even the worst industry in the world must spend 1.2% and above on R&D. Worst industry, even daru making company. In any case, you know, I mean, unfortunately I spoke about daru, or the whiskey, or the scotches. They spend close to 3.2% of their revenues average worldwide on the R&D infrastructure. For the palatability, look at the kind of brands are rolled out in the market. And you know, India, adversity you play with every day. Chicken shop should be closed for Navratri, daru industry should remain open. It's a government rule, not mine. No ban on the daru shops, but there's a ban on the chicken shops. And as industry, I feel ashamed that the food is avoided and the liquor is preferred in terms of the marketability. There are states where this happens. Choices based on the shared personal taste. When I think someone, Mr. Sadana spoke about it, the consumerism as a subject. Now, should you not able to understand every psyche of the consumer, it'd be difficult for you to remain into the food business. Today, I happened to be in the village in the month of August for 3 weeks because of compulsion, but I met 4,500 people in 13 days' time, and I met those youngsters who are operating from work from home policy. They all need choicest food of their liking. They are either IT professionals, or they are commerce professionals, or they are professionals of various kind. But even sitting in the villages, they're surfing online, asking for the quality of food, the food safety, and those attributes in your product, which you need to deliver it to them, otherwise he's not your consumer. He's not your buyer. So that choices have to be respected by the producer itself. Never ever we have been obsessed with the emotional marketing, while consumers have been. I have seen a Saria being marketed by a good-looking girl. Sariya, steel rod. You see holdings? Correct. See, doctor is a great fan. It's a purely emotional paradigm of attention. Did we ever think like this? Please put your neck into the sand. Eggs will be coming from the chicken. In any case, they lay on their own choices. Why are you in this business? Wake up. Organizing principle is to improve the personal satisfaction. Someone spoke before my speech that if I'm not satisfied with your product, I'm not second time going to buy. I can make mistakes only once because it is not grandmother's recipe. What is grandmother's recipe? All of will know. Can anyone tell me? The first time when you take birth, what is the recommendation? Milk. The first thing is recommended to you in India is the milk. Chicken, no. Eggs, no. So you don't fall into even those compulsive recommendations, or impulsive recommendations, or food safety recommendations. It means we have to be more alert as a producer of the food to go through this process. Challenges, affordability, cost comparison, rural versus urban. Please design a structure to address this issue. Supply chain and logistics. I made a statement in a public interview internationally, and someone reacted from some part of the state in India. Very qualified gentleman. He reacted, why you are depicting India as a, badly organized country? I said, you cannot deliver it to the farmer. You cannot deliver it to the villages. You have no logistics. How do I move my product 500 kilometers or 600 kilometers without losing much of money? And it should be convenient delivery to the consumers whose pockets are only 500 grams of your product. Do we have a solution for this? If my earning as a MNRGA wages worker is 114 or 116 rupees, if I'm correct, Doc, per day, I can spend only 60 rupees on food. Can you deliver a product to fit into I want to eat chicken, but you have no product to be fitting into 60 rupees basket. That is another dilemma which you have to deal with it, because everybody doesn't earn 50,000 salary. That 60% of that would be available on food. So that is why you see the rural India struggling in terms of improving the consumption, because we are not able to fit into their pocket. So this is why there's a need. Product life cycle management, religion versus vegetarianism, plenty of such issues to be dealt, environmental challenges, disease management infrastructure, and rapid response approach. All these are international compatibility, scale of production, cost of capital. I have been pleading with the government, please give me working capital seasonally, I am fine. When do I need more money? When I have to buy crop. In fact, my suggestion is, give a seasonal capital when your crop is ready. So my producer, feed producer, or the chicken producer can buy more grain. You are willing to give so much of subsidies to the producer of the crops. You are not willing to give subsidized funds to the crop buyer. How do you push the logistics of consumption? So these are the issues which you need to deal with them. Of course, there are NGOs who are going to talk about it. Of course, there are multinational companies who are going to warn you about antibiotic, which is my favorite subject. Antibiotic, how many people have died with the antibiotic resistance by eating chicken and egg? I am not aware. Not even one case since 1947 in India, reported by ICMR. But everybody talks, everybody knows about it. All this I'll skip because Mr. Dhanda is looking at me. This is another subject I thought about. Should you want to be in the food business, even the rice is branded, which is staple food today, and they have the largest market share. You have to create a value for your product. You have to talk about sustainability and the structure of sustainable production. You have to design, if one raw material can give you minimum 5 to 6 products to offer to the consumer, probably your ROI, return on investment on that product per kg, will improve. Currently, we are busy in selling whole live chicken. New market development, motivating employees, protecting your intellectual property. Whatever you develop, please try and bring it value to it. By chance, you've designed a recipe for Eastern India selling in Kalimpong or whatever. If that is the recipe which is successful, please talk to the administrators and find a solution of intellectual property protection, because when the market is going to open up, invaded by the multinationals, you will be the biggest loser if you have not protected intellectual property in the food business, which might happen very soon, I don't know. Sustainability, I would skip. Many people must have brand stories that go beyond the brand deck would be the solution. Intangible value drives a modern brand success. If you don't know how to drive intangible value of your product, you won't be able to succeed, and the customer retention would be extremely difficult for you, because you are into the food business, which is most microscopic investigation in our life. Did you study this? This is another segment which is going to drive here. Fast food drivers. You see here, units sold per day, burgers 1,237 burgers per day, per outlet. Did we design ourselves? No. It's a multinational company designed it. 700 products per day per outlet by KFC. 250 Pizza Hut, 300. If that is the market size, India is eating 45,000 crores of fast food every year. I don't think any of us have ever dreamt here. If we have dreamt, probably our pockets were empty. We could not invest into that segment. But this is what is happening. I mean, the forecasted value size in India would be probably 529 billion by 2030 and beyond. If that is a change occurring, have we done any homework in this direction? Because our product is part of the use here. Institutional supplies, railways. Army is the lifeline for probably the processing companies. Now, corporate dining systems can be, if take one hotel chain, Marriott probably have 120 hotels in the country. I have met every day some of the producers. Did you speak to Marriott that they can patronize your product? No homework, no research, no design, no recipe. How do I treat Marriott? How do I treat Hyatt? How do I treat Indian Hotels Group? Or I don't know, these chains, if they are going to be a biggest buyer for you, have you done homework backwardly in your system to address those opportunities which are available for us? I don't. And there are a lot of corporate dining restaurants. Oh, Calcutta, I mean, they're going for public issues, it seems, for 3,000 crores. 7 outlets. Did we ever go and approach them? I don't know. I have no idea about it. QSRs, modular cards, fine dining, all these are the opportunities and solution for institutional segments, if they can be addressed through this. Value addition, change, chicken versatility, all this is needed. Take home message. Consumer transition is guaranteed. They are looking for a different product than what we are offering. It means we have to alter our model of business. Logistic is a cracking issue. International market is untouched. My humble request and repeated request, please address this as early as yesterday, not even tomorrow. CapEx deployment, all the CapEx in our industry goes for expansion. जैसे आपके पॉकेट में 2 पैसा आया सरप्लस, न्यू फार्म, न्यू फीड मिल, न्यू hatchery. Is that the business model you're going to make money? CapEx, money has to be deployed judiciously in your business. What is going to fetch you more money? If you know by expanding you're not going to make money, why are you expanding? That's the mantra of ROI. Have you seen a Marwadi who's selling tail expands like you? जो ऑयल ट्रेड करता है, सोया, सरसों ऑयल, वो अपना ROI देखता है कि हमने 50 लगाया, 52 आया कि नहीं है मेरे घर में. 52 आया तभी मैं और आगे ट्रेडिंग बढ़ाऊंगा, नहीं तो इधर ही रहने दो. हमारे यहाँ ऐसे कोई फिलॉसफी पोल्ट्री इंडस्ट्री में तो नहीं है. जैसे आपके 2 पैसे आए, आपने नए शेड का प्लानिंग कर दिया, लैंड है ही है, प्लेज कर देंगे, बारो कर लेंगे, देखेंगे आगे क्या प्राइस मिलता है. कैपेक्स डिप्लॉयमेंट एट डिजायरेबल एरियाज of expansion which fetches you money. Building utmost transparency in farming and processing setup. Food is the game of honesty. Food is the game of transparency. If you do not show me your kitchen, I don't eat your food. If you do not expose how do you produce your food, I do not. I'm sure there will be some people who must have seen Tyson's Discovery Center? No. I had an opportunity of Tyson's Discovery Center for 17 times during my working days. Discovery Center's full-time job is developing recipe for the globe. There are 400 chefs working in their Discovery Center, designing food for different continents. Whether it is China, whether it is Latin America, whether it is Europe, whether it is their full-time job is this, and it is being telecasted live to the consumer. If I am McDonald's, I will have a live site on what is happening to my product, which is being developed by Tyson, and that is how the consumer retention grows. And that is how they get bigger contracts, because the product is designed, product is tasted live. There will be 5 different Mexican or Chinese sitting and eating the chicken in the kitchen, and giving the comments right live that I liked your recipe, I choose your product, and that is how the product approval system works. Did we do this ever? No. Trader picks your chicken, it goes to the butcher's place, and you know who buys, I don't know. Most popular consumers, most poultry consumers buy for price, I repeat it again. So AMR, sustainability, environmental rules, for me is a secondary issue. For me, the first issue is provide ultimate protein to the nation. That's the first priority. Point number 1. Point number 2. It is not the sustainability on which the product would be bought in India. It be bought on price. So it means you should be cost-efficient producer. And of course, you have to have price sensitivity and sustainable solution as a merge strategy to sustain. Marketing is your choice. My recommendation is without marketing, you don't even buy your shirt and t-shirt. Good luck to you. Thank you so much for